Do you ever wake up in the morning and feeling lazy, undisciplined, lost, and just not really knowing what to do? Well, the reason that you're feeling like this is pretty much because you don't have a strong support system of people who can inspire you to push even though you're not motivated or the results aren't really coming your way. And if you just had a strong support system, imagine how great it would feel to have people inspiring you when you weren't motivated. Imagine how easy it would be for you to get there, to your goal. Well, I went through that exact same journey because in 2023 I decided that this was the moment that my life was going to change forever. I walked out of my room and I saw a discipline guide. I watched this guide with intensity and I applied a few other tactics that I'd heard from some other people, and I started to apply myself to improving myself. But it would have been so much easier if I would have just had a support system, a community of like-minded individuals, or people who pursued the same path as I did. You know what I did? I fell back into a rut, which will happen to you if you don't have strong friendships and relationships and people who can support you when things get hard or when you get demotivated. So that's why I decided to make this full guide. If you're wondering why I will change right now from this setting to another, it's simply because the beginning of the video just got removed or something from my phone, and now I just re-recorded it, so now you can watch the entire guide of me laying out how to get friends on this journey. First of all, the best way to find like-minded individuals is just online. This is the only thing that I've realized. I joined a few communities and stuff like that, and I've realized that the smaller communities where people are more intimate with each other, there are lesser people, those are the ones that you can really get to connect together with people who are like-minded, and you can get onto a call and talk to people that are just grinding away, who are talking with each other, who are trying to improve and gaining feedback. And how do we actually find a community like this? I have built a step-by-step program and a community with like-minded individuals where my focus with this community is to build the best program for people who feel lazy, undisciplined, lost, lonely. To go from that to a person who feels strong mentally, who can be disciplined, who utilizes, takes action, who can do things frictionless or with friction, but he just can take action and find like-minded individuals. My goal is to build the best community on the internet, and this is just my goal with my own community. You can join it with a link in the description. It has a bit of a price tag, but it will be worth it if you just invest a few dollars into your own journey, into your own growth. Because keep in mind, the reason that I'm charging for this is because I don't want kind of like people who just join and just kind of like are inactive forever. I want it to be a bit of like an investment from yourself, so that you can actually meet people who are actually serious about it, because you won't invest in something unless you're serious about this. And it will be 100% worth it if you just pursue and you kind of like connect with some people inside there. You can also connect with me, and if you are struggling with these things still when you've joined my program, I will help you personally. I will help you out. I will connect you to some people, because I know some people that are on the same mission to improving yourself. So when it comes to the kind of like in real life type of things, first of all, don't chase, try to attract, because once you're speaking to somebody like on the internet or in real life, they will know if you are needy. If you are the type of person who is needy, you won't really attract that many friends, because one of the things that are very, very common in the dating scene of things and getting a partner and stuff like that is, don't be needy. Don't be the person who's kind of like asking and craving validation from somebody else. You simply need to be the person who kind of like acts like they have an abundance. It can be a bit toxic because you don't really show your genuine support, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you need to be the person who's kind of like, you're kind of like acting like you have an abundance of people around you, even though you probably don't have one, as I didn't have a year ago. But when I started to act more of like, I tried to be more of my own, and when I did feel lonely, when those days where I just wanted to kind of like cry, and it was kind of like my fingers were my fingers were aching, and I just felt so literally like numb in my whole like body and spirit. And I decided to simply try to attract people rather than chase. because once you're chasing something, it will run away. It's kind of like if you're a dog owner and you do have a dog, the best thing that you can do when it's running away and when it's got sight of something, for example, it's chasing down a cat down the road, the best thing that you can do then is scream for their name and then run the other way, because then you become the target, you become the person who they are chasing. And this is simply comes down to your mindset, and you need to feel like, and you need to kind of like act like you have abundance, because if you do act like you have abundance, people will literally perceive you as the person who's kind of like high status. I don't want this, I genuinely don't want this to be kind of like toxic or anything, but this is just how the world works in my own experience, and when I've experienced everybody around me, and my family do tell me the same thing. And you just have to kind of like act with abundance. You have to kind of like act like you have like 10 best friends of yours who are on self-improvement and trying to improve themselves or building a business or whatever. Just need to understand that. And then what you need to do is simply put effort into many directions, because if you want to build friends with other people, you kind of like need to have a life. It's kind of like if you were to meet a new person today and they were kind of like having a lot of things going for them, you would literally kind of like feel this feeling that you're pulled towards them, because they have this kind of like magic attraction simply because they put in effort in many directions. So first of all, have some crystal clear goals that you're working towards that are genuinely purposeful. I teach this inside of my program. I will help you out with these things, and just join that program if you want to get into more of the goal side of things, if you want to know how to find your purpose, all of these things. I cover everything in detail in my program. So what you simply have to do is you have to have some goals. So for example, you have a strong goal that you're chasing every single day that you're waking up for. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is a Friday right now. From Thursday to Friday, I was actually thinking about entrepreneurship, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night, or not in the middle of the night, but a few minutes when my alarm went off. I was simply in a thinking process of like entrepreneurship and how I could actually not scale my things up, but kind of like how I can contribute on YouTube, how I can build this community even better, why I'm doing these things, how I can actually improve these things. So I simply have a very, very strong goal, which is simply to contribute to people, to help people, to provide value for the people on YouTube and in my program as well. So I simply just do that. And what you also need to do is overload socially. And what does this mean practically? You pretty much kind of like go out and you challenge yourself a little bit socially. And what you do right now is, if you feel like greeting somebody, just saying like, I'm going to draw something like this. If you feel like saying hi to somebody is a bit of a constraint, it's a bit hard, and you feel like, I don't really want to do it, it's a bit scary, what if they don't really reply or anything? That's a task for you. Just greet one person, go out on a 5-minute walk. As I said earlier, have a few things going for you, because then you'll be the type of person who can actually attract friends, who can go and greet people. Just say hi to one person. Just do it with a smile, like hi, or something like that. It seems a bit corny or cringe, but do it anyway, because this will help you to improve your social skills and mannerisms, because then you've seen like what do people respond with, what do people don't respond with, why weren't they responding. You kind of like gain this open feedback loop where you can always gain some feedback on your current social skills, and try to just kind of like, when it comes to speaking to people, your energy is one of the most important things. Like when you greet somebody, do you greet them like this, hello? You go down in pitch and you kind of like, you feel mundane? Or do you go up in pitch and kind of like ask a question? Yeah, this was a bit cringe, but you do something, you speak with kind of like an upwards, I wouldn't say upwards like thing, but you speak a little bit kind of like upwards pitch, and that will help you to kind of like to greet some people. But just do that and you will literally get a smile on your face, and just someday you will just get into a conversation with somebody. Just do that, overload socially, challenge yourself to be a bit more social every single week. And then find friends online. This is the cheat code. I covered this earlier, because then you can just utilize this online, and you can also have a few things going for you online. You're working on a project, you're working on a mission, whatever. And then simply, in real life, confidence is one of the few things that you can fake when you are scared. So for example, I'm kind of like an ambivert, which is kind of like in the middle of extroverted and introverted. I have an introverted side of me where I just want to work or whatever, I just want to be with myself, read, and sometimes or not sometimes, but like half of the time I feel extremely extroverted. I want to be with friends, I want to laugh around, just want to like goof around basically. Fake confidence in these scenarios where you feel like your introverted version of you is turned on. Fake confidence in those situations. And the reason that I'm saying this is not for you to act like inauthentic or anything, but just kind of like to break the ice, to start making some progress on this. Just fake some confidence, go up to somebody, just greet them, say hello, how are you? And if you don't say anything more, that's some progress. Celebrate every single bit of progress. And this is just simply how you do it. You kind of like do this. And if you can understand people and read people successfully, I promise you that you will literally, it will be so easy. Because if you can read somebody's intentions of you, which is pretty simple by the simple protocol that I'm going to cover right now, you can literally feel like, okay, so this person wants to be with me, this person doesn't. So what you simply do is, when it comes to reading people, when you are in an environment, for example in school, in a place where you're like, okay, so you have a few people around you, and you are perhaps in like a group of a few people, and perhaps you're like just in class or whatever, and somebody says something to you, like somebody says something to you, this is you right here, this is you, and somebody says something to you. For example, if somebody would insult this person right here, a friend of yours who you actually have a positive perception of, and what you need to do then is simply how you read that person who you just gave that insult. You just ask yourself one question, which is simply, what do this person want me to think about them after they've said this thing or this insult or this compliment or whatever? What does this person want me to feel about them? Because what will happen is you will kind of like, oh, these are the masks that they're wearing. These are the things that you actually want. And most of the time it is something that revolves around like ego. They want to like have their ego fulfilled. They want to feel like great, and they want to be validated, or they want to feel a sense of like they want you to giggle or laugh, or they want you to kind of like feel sad because they want to elevate their own status. So understand these things, and once you do this, you will actually get to understand. Because I remember when I was bullied, if I would have just understood this concept of reading people pretty basically, you can literally know if somebody, what intentions they do have. And this is the simplest way. Just ask yourself this one simple question. Then another thing that you can do and can utilize to simply do this is you start to research how to read people. And I want to cover a few things because I'm still a bit new into this. I'm not very educated on this, but I simply have, I read like half a book, which is called like Read People Like a Book. I've actually got it on my bed right there. But once you start to get into reading people, you can learn so much. And I think that I learned from a podcast by like, I don't even know, but it was kind of like an FBI, CIA person who could literally like brainwash people to do the craziest things. I think he said that if your eyes like go like this when you're smiling, I don't know, but if there are wrinkles that show here when somebody who's smiling, then it means that they have a genuine smile. If it isn't, if they just smile like this, it's probably not a real smile. So detect like if they're actually laughing a lot. And with it you can see if somebody's very extroverted is simply if they have kind of like wrinkles on their forehead. It's kind of weird, but he just said it's in this podcast, I think. And he just said if they have wrinkles on their forehead, they are extroverted. And when you do this, you're more like, when you're more tight and tense in your body language and stuff like that, simply they are probably a bit angry, a bit tense, whatever, or feel a little bit lost, whatever. I don't want to touch too much on this. I am still researching this, and I will be able to talk more about this when I've actually gotten enough knowledge to just speak about this in general. And another thing that you simply can do is look at their body language. Where are they pointing? If somebody is sitting like this when you're speaking to them, and they're sitting like this, and they aren't pointing towards you, it can mean sometimes that that they want to get out of there, or they don't want to talk to you, for example. But it's all general. It's kind of like, it's all depending on the situation. Simply observe what people are doing. So for example, if somebody making an insult, ask yourself the question I just stated earlier. It will help you a lot with these things. And that's simply all I have to say for today. I really do hope to get some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.